Hello everyone. Today I am going to tell you that how to install Raspberry Pi desktop on a PC or Mac PC. So Raspberry Pi is world's favorite platform for embedded Linux development and the website is raspberrypi.com. You can download the software that you can use on this hardware using this software button on raspberrypi.com. So on the top side, we have a imager which you can download on Windows and install it on SD card for this Raspberry Pi hardware platform. But today we are going to install it on a desktop, that is my Windows desktop. So this is the link, Raspberry Pi desktop for PC. So I am clicking here. So when we click here, we get to this page and then we have to download the Raspberry Pi image. The Raspberry Pi editions come with different name like VZ, Jesse, Buster, Bullseye. So these are the name of Toy Story characters. So whenever there is a new update with Raspberry Pi desktops, they uh, they keep these names like Buster. So we have to download this Debian Buster for with Raspberry Pi desktop. This downloading, I have already downloaded this software for my system. So now I am going to use this VMware workstation. This is software where you can emulate Windows or any OS on your desktop. So your installed software will run on your Windows desktop itself inside this window. So first of all, you have to click on create new virtual machine. So I'm going to click this thing. Then I'm going to click typical. Now you have to provide the installer disk, but I will select I will install operating system later. This option is used when you are using commonly installed softwares like Ubuntu, but when you are going to install this special software, I will install operating system later. Next, so I have to select what I'm going to install. I'm going to install Linux, and there are different options for Linux installation. So I want to find Debian. So Debian 10 install. Where is Debian 10? So my OS that I have downloaded for this installation is 32-bit Debian. Okay, and it is written Debian version 10. So my version 10 is okay, and the requirement is 32-bit operating system. So I have select Linux Debian 10x. Okay. Now I'm going to click next. I will write rasp OS, and I'm going to create my machine on PC here in C drive inside VM. Okay. And now I have to click on CVM and I will click next. Now it is asking for disk space. I have given 20 GB of space with on a single file. Now I click next. So I can customize the hardware. Raspberry Pi OS is optimized for even low memories, so it is 2 GB here. Processors is 1. I can increase the number of cores. The latest Raspberry Pi come with 4 cores, so a 4-core laptop will also work fine. Okay. Printer, I am removing this printer. It's okay now. close, finish. My machine is ready. Okay, so I will insert the OS drive. I have already downloaded Buster Raspberry Pi version for my system. So I'm saying use OS file that I have put in C drive, VM, Raspberry Pi. Okay, now I've sent power on link to the system. So it will be booting, run as persistent, run without persistence, graphical install. So installs. So I am going to install graphical install. So I've selected graphical install for my Raspbian installation. So it's showing a Debian Linux. Our keyboards are in US English normally, and we have to select US English, American English for our installation so that our keyboard and language option remain correct. So this Debian installation is loading all hardware and software list. So I am selecting guided use entire disk for my disk installation. So it detected my software hard drive that I have been selected during the VMware hardware selection. So you can have separate home partition, separate home bar temp partition, but it is a virtual environment, so I'm putting all files in one partition. Finish. Okay. It's saying that are you going to make these changes on the hard disk? I am saying yes. If you have this DVD of a Raspbian and you're using it on a standard PC with a CD-ROM, the screen of Debian will be same in that case also. Even I am running on a virtual PC, the screens that are appearing for this Debian installation are same with the standard PC. The system is being installed. Raspberry Pi is very good operating system and hardware by raspberrypi.org, and it is available in the market. So worldwide people are using to make different IoT applications and projects for Raspberry Pi. And if you don't have Raspberry Pi, like nowadays, the Raspberry Pi is costlier. Raspberry Pi 4. The latest version is Raspberry Pi 4. Okay, and with 1 GB RAM, with 2 GB RAM, with 4 GB RAM, it's available. It's very good development platform for embedded Linux and robotics and IoT application development. So if you don't have this hardware, you can run VMware and use it on as on your Windows desktop itself. It's being installed. Raspberry Pi is also very good for uh, Python programming. So if you want a platform for Python programming and robotics. It's very good platform, and you can learn to code here also. The language are Scratch, code in Python. Python is very good language and it's run very fine on Raspberry Pi platforms. Almost setup is complete. It's approximately 70%. You can design and play games. You can design and play, make website. You can make music. You can make robot. You can make digital art using Raspberry Pi. And all these functions, most of these functions work fine on this VMware version of Raspberry Pi OS. The setup is almost complete now. So my waiting, it's installing Grub. Grub is bootloader that will allow booting of this OS. Continue. Dave SD1 is our hard disk that will boot. So Grub is being installed. I think this is the last version, last step in this Raspberry Pi Debian installation. It's saying now finishing the installation. So the installation is complete. I'm clicking on continue. It's removing the live packages or any installation packages that can be installed to install Debian on this virtual machine or this PC. So now the system is going to reboot. So now our Raspbian is ready to boot. I'm clicking Debian Unix. So this is our Raspberry Pi installation. The look and feel is entirely similar when we install this Raspberry Pi OS on Raspberry Pi hardware. So I have installed this Raspberry Pi software on PC instead of Raspberry Pi hardware. So this is the welcome screen. I'm going to, this is the first time, the first boot of Raspberry Pi. So you have to click next. It's asking for country, so it's United States. Language is American English. The country is, in my case it's India, in your case it can be anything. So I'm going to select India. Language is English. I can't find English here. Oh my god, where is language? This is English. Time zone is Kolkata in India. I have selected use US keyboard, use English language. Next, setting up the language and version. Now it's asking for the password. So I am putting password here. Okay, and the username is by default, it's called Pi. So setup is complete. Our Raspberry Pi is ready to be used. But before using Raspberry Pi, I have clicked terminal. In this terminal, I have to install few options. So there's a little bit zoom here. Now I will write sudo su minus. So now I am root. I'm going to type apt get install apt get update. This will update the install list for my Raspberry Pi. Now I will go to apt get install open VM tools. So it's available. Yes. So this package open VM tools that can be installed from internet is will install VMware driver in Debian Linux. So VMware driver is required. So after the installation of VMware driver, you see the screen is bigger now. It's now full desktop. And if I maximize it, my system is complete. So this is Raspberry Pi OS on my Windows that is running inside VMware. Okay, and you can change wallpaper here from this thing. This is the running Raspberry Pi Linux inside my Windows. And if I'm going to open the browser, it's Chromium available here. So you write google.com, it's working. And if I check this operating system's capability, it is running with full graphics on very low RAM. So I'm going to check this thing. I will write sudo su minus. I have become root. Now I will type free minus h. So out of 2 GB, that is approximately 2 GB, 1.9 GB, 1.3 GB is available. Everything is running under 700 MBs. So the system is available. You can make Python coding, you can make different program using Python. It's available here. Okay, in programming, Java is available. Then this Scratch language available, and Sonic Pi is available. Python ID is available, and you use standard command line prompt to write your Python program. So this was the video in which I have explained how to install Raspberry Pi OS in Windows using VMware. Please subscribe and like my channel, and contact us for any kind of IoT and Raspberry Pi application development. Thank you very much. Thank you.